It's Thursday, October 16th. In the headlines, Jamaica's population climbs to 2.77 million, the slowest growth rate in over 50 years. Education Minister Dr. Dana Morris-Dixon welcomes improved grade 4 PEP results. In business news, MasterCard looking to partner with 50,000 small businesses. Regionally, Trinidad and Tobago recognizes World Food Day with a focus on food security. And in sports, Olympian Johan Blake to receive national honor. This is the news on PBC Jamaica. I'm Simone Absalom Gale. Jamaica's population has grown to 2,774,538, according to the 2022 Population and Housing Census, up from 2,697,983, recorded in 2011. Director of Census's Demographic and Social Statistics at the Statistical Institute of Jamaica, Stacey-Ann Robinson, says the figure represents a modest 2.8% increase, or 76,555 more people than in the previous census. Presenting the preliminary census and geospatial results during Statin's quarterly press briefing on Wednesday in Kingston, Ms. Robinson noted that the average annual growth rate of 0.24% over the period was the lowest recorded between 1970 and 2022.
The growth rate observed was influenced by a 42.2% decline in the births, moving from 747,788 to 432,018 over the intercensal periods 1970 to 1982 to 2011 to 2022. And it was further impacted by population losses due to deaths moving from 188,993 to 236,687.
Looking at the population growth by parish, Ms. Robinson reported that St. Catherine recorded the largest population increase, adding 26,545 people.
Clarendon ranks second, showing an increase of 13,540 people over the same period. This is followed by Kingston and St. Andrew, with a population growth of 10,478 people. These figures highlight where the most significant population shifts have occurred, indicating areas of growth that may require increased planning and, of course, resource allocation.
In terms of population density, Ms. Robinson says Hanover, Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, St. Thomas, Portland, St. Mary, St. Anne, and Trelawney each have 200 or fewer people per square kilometer.
The map on screen illustrates the number of dwellings by communities in 2022. Notably, the greatest number of dwellings were found in communities in St. Catherine and St. Andrew. Parishes such as Portland and St. Thomas had many communities with a dwelling number less than 201.
The director explains that the slowdown in population growth was largely due to a 42.2% decline in births, compounded by higher deaths and reduced net migration. Education Minister Dr. Dana Morris-Dixon says she is pleased with the results of the Grade 4 PEP exam. Speaking at an Education Transformation Oversight Committee press conference on Thursday morning, she reported that 67% of all students who sat the exams are now at mastery in literacy.
That's an improvement, big time. And guess what? 70.4% have achieved mastery in numeracy. So we did better at numeracy at grade 4 than we did at literacy. But they're both moving up, which is the important thing.
She explains that most of those who were not at mastery level were not far behind.
As I looked at the literacy, and I know Jamaica talks about the literacy a lot, was that when we looked at it, over 33,000 students did the exam, but only 475 out of 33,000 children did not reach mastery or almost mastery. So it's only 475 students of the whole grade 4 cohort received a score of non-mastery. Only 450. So when we talk about our education system and the problems, yes, there are problems, and I'm the most open about talking about the problems. But when we see improvements, we must acknowledge them.
Dr. Morris Dixon says despite the improvement, her team will not stop until every child reaches their full potential. Agriculture contributes approximately 8.3% to 9% of Jamaica's GDP and is a vital source of employment, with nearly 19% of the population working in the sector. A large number of Jamaican farmers are women. In part 2 of our Rural Women in Farming feature, we continue to recognize their critical role, though often invisible, in food production and rural development. The Bureau of Gender Affairs, through the ministry, engaged in a number of activities in recognition of rural women in farming.
One such thing was a needs assessment to ascertain what are some of the challenges that rural women are experiencing with primary information and data, not just anecdotal reference, for us to better able to put programs, policies and plans in place to empower our rural women and girls. Access to information. They don't think that information is readily available to them, as well as stereotypes. They think that because farmers are not pretty and they don't dress a specific way and they don't look a specific way, when they go to the financial institutions, they are stereotyped and they're looked down on instead of being encouraged and supported in the manner that they should in order to grow their businesses.
Exactly so. So there's nowhere for you to go. RADA might help, but a lot of people don't know RADA's function.
Another thing that affects most of them is climate change and putting new climate smart technologies in place.
We have challenges left, right, and center. And even when we start, water is a big problem. Also, a lot of places don't have running water. You can't use NWC water for farming because that costs too much. So even some drums are a little pond, but the pond line is very expensive. And you, if rather even have pond line, you're not going to get it. Yeah. Specialize. So there's challenge there.
Well, I would like the help in the sense to say if I could receive some layers, because I see where I would make the money more on the layers. Because, as I said before, the layer can suffice its own self. You understand? Because basically, yes, you have to clean the coop like you do with the white chicken. You have to give them the dry sawdust and you have to give them the mineral in the whatever I told you before. And they will suffice themselves as long as they have the feeding to feed them straight through. You understand? So basically, I want to increase more in the layer. Not that I don't want to raise the white chicken, but the white fowl is like, you tend to more lose
Despite the challenges, the two ladies are passionate about their careers.
You can make money from it. My advice, you have to do your market research. You have to specialize. Not doing 4, 5, 6 crops. Choose 1 or 2. You have to get a market. Like, for instance, you have to find some company or person who need what you're going to plant, and see if you can get an agreement with them, some kind of contract. Everything that I buy, every laborer that I pay, I write down everything. You have to keep record. If you don't keep record, you don't know whether you're going or coming. And you don't know if you are to stop doing this or go ahead with it.
Why I continue, basically, I love farming. And I just don't love chicken alone. I do crops. I love farming because I plant my yam, cocoa. Right now, I have sweet potato, yam, cane, cocoa. I use it called dashing. I plant my plantains because I love plantains. So I have plantains and bananas, and
you produce enough to feed your own house, is it?
Yes. And I give away. That's what I do. I plant and I give away. Because basically this morning I went to my field before I came here. So I went and I planted some potato slips. I manure them with some fall down. And I weed some bush and I clean up my bananas and plantains and plant some corns. Yes, so basically I love farming and a whole.
Preserving Jamaica's history isn't just about restoring old buildings. It's about protecting the stories, sites, and culture that define who we are. The Jamaica National Heritage Trust says it's continuing the mission to safeguard the nation's legacy for future generations. Danina Rodney has more from a recent conversation featured on Get the Facts, a Jamaica Information Service production celebrating Heritage Month.
From the Blue Lagoon in Portland to the historic city of Port Royal, Jamaica's heritage is alive in the landmarks that shaped its people and identity. Speaking during a recent Get the Facts interview, Lorna Bailey, Director of Public Education, Public Relations, and Communications at the Jamaica National Heritage Trust, explains how it's working to preserve over 300 heritage sites across the island.
Our mandate is to promote the preservation of national monuments and also anything that is designated as protected national heritage. We also, in our mandate, we carry out research on such monuments and sites. We carry out, we conduct development, and we are also to record.
She notes that the Trust's work goes beyond monuments, involving research and technical assessments whenever development projects could affect heritage sites.
So we'll send officers out into the field, and these are officers, they're archaeologists, they're researchers, they are from the Estate Management and Business Development Division. So it's a team of technical experts. So they would go out and they would conduct what we call an archaeological impact assessment or a research impact assessment. And from that assessment, then they would come back, put in their recommendations, and to say whether or not this development has a negative impact on the heritage and the structures that is there.
Ms. Bailey adds that while the JNHT maintains the shrines of Jamaica's national heroes and oversees 5 historic districts, balancing preservation with development remains one of its biggest challenges.
We do have some amount of challenges. One of them is sustainable development. When development is happening on a historic or a heritage site or close by, we have to ensure that when we carry out our archaeological impact assessment or heritage impact assessment, we give recommendations as to how we can mitigate against, the destruction or interference of those sites. So we have to preserve them.
Right.
And so far it has been working. And I believe that if there were more laws and policies in place to, offer more protection, then that could help.
She also points to the need for stronger public awareness.
What we do, we often have conversations with them and, sensitizing them, let them know, because sometimes they don't know the value of what they have. Because those buildings, you will never get them anywhere else, because we inherit them from the past and we have them in the future, in the present time, and we have to protect them for future generations.
Looking ahead, Ms. Bailey says the JNHT plans to strengthen partnerships with the private sector to help maintain and develop the country's heritage sites. Reporting for the news on PBCJ, I am Danita Rodney.
Time now for the business report with Denise Williams.
Welcome to today's business report. I'm Denise Williams, here to bring you the stories shaping the financial world and guiding your journey to smarter business decisions. Let's dive into the top headlines. Dalton Fowles, MasterCard country manager for Jamaica, announced plans for onboarding 50,000 Jamaican micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises to its digital payment solutions, and in the process bringing them into the formal economy. According to Fowles, Jamaica's Ministry of Industry and Investment estimates there are 425,000 small businesses across Jamaica. However, of that amount, only 14,000 SMEs are accounted for on the local tax register. A small business in the Jamaican context is any entity with fewer than 5 employees which earns less than 15 million in revenue. Medium-sized enterprises, on the other hand, have between 5 and 10 employees while generating between 15 million and a maximum threshold of $75 million. MasterCard's strategic push is informed by a study it commissioned between March and April of 2025, which indicated that 91% of SMEs that accept digital payment say it has contributed to significant growth of their businesses, adding that it saves time and money. Even businesses that don't accept digital payments have expressed an interest in implementing the right payment solutions soon. The Shipping Association of Jamaica has launched a suite of consultancy services to help members of the micro, small, and medium-sized enterprise. The Shipping Association, which has more than 86 years experience in financial management and a team with over 50 years combined experience in expertise in payroll, accounting, bookkeeping, cash flow forecasting, and auditing, is now offering these services to start-up businesses. Fiona Hall, finance manager of the Shipping Association, said this expansion is being driven by the demand for reliable and affordable services in these areas by members of the MSME sector. For the trading period ending October 15, 2025, these were the most actively traded stocks. We had Wigton Energy Limited with 1,678,756 units, which represented 31.39% of market sales. Trans-Jamaican Highway Limited with 1,400,772 units, which represented 26.19% of market sales. Radio Jamaica Limited with 437,785 units, represented 8.18% of market sales. We now shift our focus to the Forex market rate set by the Bank of Jamaica. On October 15, 2025, the Bank of Jamaica reported US $14.65 million purchased and US $48.97 million sold by Forex traders. Forex traders earned $1.99 per dollar, selling the US at $161.91 and buying the US at $159.92. The Canadian dollar netted Forex traders $3.65 per transaction, with selling at $116.69 and buying at $113.04. The British pound yielded Forex traders $8.47 in profits, with selling at $218.03 and buying at $209.56. For our credit report tip of the day, take action today. Open your credit report, face the numbers, and take control of your financial story. Rebuilding credit and getting out from debt isn't just about fixing your past. It's about creating a stronger, wealth-focused future. Every call you make to negotiate a payment, every extra dollar you apply toward a balance, and every time you choose progress over procrastination, you're building momentum toward financial freedom. The path may feel uphill, but remember, confidence grows with every action, and consistency creates results. And that wraps up today's business report. I'm Denise Williams, reminding you that every financial decision is a step toward your future. Until next time, stay focused, stay informed, and keep striving for success. See you soon.
In regional news, World Food Day is commemorated on October 16th under the theme, Hand in Hand for Better Food and a Better Future. The theme stresses the importance of global collaboration to build a peaceful, sustainable, and food-secure future. In Trinidad and Tobago, the Food and Agriculture Organization has been driving efforts through initiatives to promote food security. More details in this report.
The Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO, is celebrating World Food Day on October 16 by highlighting key projects that have been driving efforts toward food security and farmer support in Trinidad and Tobago. An approach known as the Four Betters has been driving climate resilience, production and innovation within agriculture, as explained by Assistant FAO Representative Janelle Joe.
Our work at FAO focuses on the four betters: better production, better nutrition, better environment, and better life. And all of this is also linked to our country program framework, which guides how we do our work in country. It sets that guiding framework for us, and it's also linked to our national priorities. When you look at climate resilience now, we do a lot of work in Trinidad and Tobago, working with local stakeholders, local partners, with farmers, governments, state agencies, NGOs, international organizations, towards building climate resilience in agriculture.
Through the deployment of climate-resilient technologies such as solar power, drip irrigation systems, and digital sensors, FAO has been assisting farmers in their agricultural efforts.
Agriculture is a big part of what we do, right? And, farmers, they are sort of our main stakeholders when it comes to agriculture, because they are the ones on the ground. They best understand what is happening when it comes to their crop, when it comes to their soil, and we are better able to deploy different technologies or techniques that we have to help improve whether it be yield or productivity generally from a plot of land. Right.
Ms. Joe is confident that Trinidad and Tobago can attain food security. This in line with the Ministry of Agriculture, Land and Fisheries mandate to drive the contribution of this sector to the national gross domestic product, GDP.
I say this because Trinidad is blessed with a lot of fertile soil, right? In addition, there you have both farmers and youth willing to get involved in agriculture, willing to work in agriculture, and FAO supports this through a number of areas. firstly through the imparting of knowledge, that technical know-how, you know, bringing to the farmers, bringing to the youths any sort of cross-cutting like technology, innovation when it comes to farming.
World Food Day underscores the importance of collaboration across governments, organizations, sectors, and communities for the transformation of agri-food systems, ensuring access to food for all. I am Faith Shariot, keeping it green for TTT News.
Antigua and Barbuda now ranks third in the Americas for childhood and adolescent obesity, according to new data from the Pan American Health Organization, PAHO. The findings highlight the urgent need to curb the overconsumption of sugary drinks in the Twin Island nation. ABS News' health correspondent, Shanakisha Francis, has the story.
Dr. Siobhan Bell-Jarvis says non-communicable diseases, or NCDs, continue to account for the vast majority of deaths in Antigua and Barbuda, an estimated 82%. She warns that unless lifestyles change, the country will continue to see worsening rates of diabetes, heart disease, and cancer.
Right here in Antigua and Barbuda, 82% of our deaths are accounted for by non-communicable diseases, diabetes, heart disease, cancers. Therefore, we're saying tonight we have to do something differently if we expect a different outcome.
She is especially concerned about the growing rate of childhood obesity, noting that many children are developing conditions once considered adult diseases.
13 to 15-year-olds, 59% of them will have soda at least one or more times per day in a 24-hour period. And that, for me, is scary when I think about the negative outcomes. As a matter of fact, 1 in 4 persons with non-communicable diseases will die prematurely.
She reminded parents that children under the age of 2 should not have any added sugar, and even older children should consume no more than 6 teaspoons daily. Dr. Bell-Jarvis says obesity and poor diet are fueling a silent crisis, with the Caribbean among the world's highest consumers of sugary drinks.
The Caribbean and Antigua and Barbuda is actually thought to consume more in terms of sugar-sweetened beverages than even many other places in the world. What we need to recognize is that even obesity in and of itself is almost thought to be, by many healthcare professionals, the next pandemic.
Health officials say tackling obesity and NCDs requires a combined effort from families, schools, and policymakers to create healthier habits for the next generation. Reporting for ABS News, Shanakisha Francis.
In sports, Olympian Johan Blake is set to be formally recognized by the government of Jamaica for his outstanding contribution to athletics and his charitable work. Blake will receive the Order of Distinction in the rank of Commander during the National Investiture Ceremony at King's House on National Heroes Day, Monday, October 20. The 2-time Olympic gold medalist and world champion says he's humbled by the honor, calling it a meaningful recognition to his journey. Known as the Beast, Blake has etched his name in global track and field history as the second fastest man of all time. Off the track, he continues to impact lives through his Why Be Afraid Foundation, which supports children's homes across the island, funding, education, facility upgrades, and mentorship. As he looks ahead, Blake says he's excited about life beyond athletics, focusing on family, more charity work, and maybe even a future in cricket commentary. That's the news on PBCJ. You can follow us on our social media platforms at PBCJamaica. Thanks for watching.